The stars looked different through the viewing port of the Kethmoran as it drifted toward the small yellow sun. Commander Zixtel pressed his crystalline hand against the cool metal wall and felt the ship's gentle vibration. His species had been exploring space for over 3,000 years, but this mission felt strange somehow. "Commander, we are approaching the third planet," said Navigation Officer Plixara. Her gaseous form shimmered blue in the dim lighting of the bridge. "Initial. Scans are complete." Zixtel turned away from the window. Around him, his crew worked at their stations. Dr. Kielneth bent over her equipment, her insect-like arms moving quickly across the controls. Communications specialist Vorthek floated in his water tank, tentacles dancing as he monitored deep space signals. Security Chief Grixnell stood at attention, his rock-like body ready for anything. "What do the scans show?" Zixtel asked. Dr. Kielneth looked up from her screen. Her compound eyes reflected the data streaming across the display. "Commander, these readings cannot be correct. The computer must be broken." "Run the scan again," Zixtel ordered. The xenobiologist's claws clicked against the controls. After several minutes, she lifted her head. "The readings are the same. Commander, this planet should not exist." Zixtel walked to her station. On the screen, he saw a blue and green world spinning slowly in space. White clouds swirled across its surface. It looked beautiful and peaceful from this distance. "Explain," he said. "The atmosphere is 21% oxygen," Dr. Kielneth said. Her voice carried the clicking sounds of her species when they were excited or afraid. "That concentration should cause instant combustion. The entire planet should be on fire." Engineer Fluxenim's energy form pulsed brighter. "Oxygen is highly reactive. We use it in our most powerful rocket fuels. A world with that much free oxygen in the atmosphere is impossible." "There is more," Dr. Kielneth continued. "The surface gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. That would crush most known species. The magnetic field is incredibly strong. Solar radiation levels are extreme. Temperature variations range from -40 to +50 degrees Celsius. Security Chief Grixnell's stone-like features showed concern. "Those conditions would kill anything we know about within hours." "The water covers most of the surface," Plixara added. "But it is not just water. It contains salt concentrations that would dehydrate most life forms. The ocean depths show crushing pressure levels." Zixtel studied the data. In all his years of exploration, he had never seen readings like these. According to their instruments, this world was a Class 12 death world, the highest danger rating in their classification system. "Yet our bioscanners detect life," he said quietly. "Yes, Commander," Dr. Kielneth replied. "Millions of species. The biodiversity readings are off our charts. This planet hosts more different life forms than any world we have ever discovered." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member stared at the peaceful-looking planet on their screens. "There is something else," Communications Specialist Vorthek said from his tank. His translator made his water speech understandable to the others. "I am detecting organized electromagnetic signals, patterns that suggest intelligence." "Impossible," Grixnell said. "Nothing intelligent could evolve in those conditions." "The signals are complex," Vorthek continued. "Multiple frequencies, different patterns from different locations on the planet. They appear to be communication networks." Zixtel felt his crystal skin grow cold. A death world was dangerous enough. A death world with intelligent life was beyond their experience. "How intelligent?" he asked. "The signals suggest advanced technology. They are using radio waves, microwaves, and other electromagnetic frequencies. The patterns indicate global communication systems." Dr. Kielneth ran new scans. Bio readings confirm a dominant species, bipedal, approximately 1.7 meters tall on average. They appear to be spread across most of the planet's landmasses. "A species that dominates a Class 12 death world," Engineer Fluxenim whispered. His energy form dimmed with worry. Zixtel made a decision that would change everything. "Deploy a cloaked observation probe. We need more information before we report to the Hegemony Council." Commander, protocol requires us to maintain safe distance from unknown death worlds, Grixnell reminded him. Protocol was written before we found anything like this, Zixtel replied. Deploy the probe. The probe launched silently from the Kethmoran. It was small and invisible to most detection methods. Within hours it would be in orbit around the strange world, sending back detailed information. Probe deployed successfully, Plixara reported. It will reach the planet in 6 hours. The UE crew waited. They ran system checks, analyzed the preliminary data, and tried to understand what they had found. A world that should not exist, hosting life that should be impossible, dominated by intelligence that should never have evolved. When the probe finally transmitted its first detailed images, the bridge crew gathered around the main display. What? They saw challenged everything they knew about life in the universe. The dominant species looked fragile. They had thin skin with no protective covering, no claws or fangs, no armored shells or poison glands. They appeared to be made mostly of soft tissue and water. They looked so vulnerable, Dr. Kyloneth said. But as they watched, these fragile beings did impossible things. The probe showed them climbing vertical rock faces using only their hands and feet. Others dove deep into the crushing ocean depths. Some launched themselves through the air using primitive flying machines. What are they doing? Plixnar asked. Vorthek translated the electromagnetic signals. According to their communications, they call these activities sports and recreation. They appear to be doing these dangerous things for enjoyment. The aliens stared in shock. These creatures were voluntarily exposing themselves to deadly conditions for fun. Look at this, Dr. Kylneth said, pointing to another image. The probe showed beings running at high speed while their planet's deadly star blazed overhead. They are exercising in direct solar radiation that would kill most species in minutes. And this, Engineer Fluxanim added. More images showed the beings consuming liquids and solids. They are ingesting unknown substances. Those could be poisons or acids. Actually, Vorthek said, after analyzing more communications, they call this eating and drinking. It appears to be how they obtain energy. They consume solid matter? Grixnell asked in disbelief. His species absorbed minerals directly from rock. The idea of breaking down complex substances inside their bodies seemed horrifying. The probe continued transmitting. It showed the beings, living in structures they had built, moving around in wheeled vehicles and interacting in large groups. Despite living on a world that should kill them instantly, they had created a complex civilization. Commander, Dr. Kylneth said softly, I believe we have discovered something unprecedented, a species that has not just survived on a death world, but has made it their home. Zixtel watched the images stream across their displays. Thousands of these impossible beings going about their daily lives on a planet that defied all logic. They seemed completely unaware that they were living in conditions that would be instantly fatal to nearly every other known form of life. What do we call them? He asked. Vorthek consulted his translation systems. They call themselves many different names in many different languages, but the most common term appears to be humans. Humans, Zixtel repeated. The word felt strange. In his translator unit, Sir, what are your orders? Grixnell asked. Zixtel looked at his crew. They had made the greatest discovery in the history of galactic exploration. A deathworld species that had achieved intelligence, technology, and civilization. The Hegemony Council needed to know about this immediately. But first, they needed to understand what they were dealing with. Continue observation, he ordered. I want to know everything about these humans before we make our report. Something that can survive on that world might be more dangerous than we can imagine. The Kethmoran maintained its position as the probe continued its work. None of them realized they were about to discover that death worlds do not just create survivors. They create something far more remarkable. The probe had been watching Earth for 3 days when Dr. Kyloneth called an emergency meeting. Her compound eyes were wide with shock as the crew gathered around the holographic display in the main conference room. What I am about to show you will challenge everything we know about life, she began. Her claws trembled as she activated the display. The biological data from this planet is impossible. The hologram showed a cross-section of Earth's surface. Layers of rock, soil, and water appeared in different colors. But what caught everyone's attention were the countless tiny dots scattered throughout every layer. These are living organisms, Dr. Kylaneth explained. They exist everywhere. In the soil, in the water, in the air, even deep inside the planet's crust. The probe has detected life forms living in conditions that would instantly destroy any known species. She pointed to a cluster of red dots. These organisms live in water that is literally boiling. The temperature is over 100 degrees Celsius. They should be cooked instantly, but instead they are thriving. Commander Zixtel leaned forward. Show us more. The display changed to show the deepest parts of Earth's oceans. Strange creatures moved through the crushing darkness. Some had lights on their bodies, others had mouths full of sharp teeth. The pressure down there is over 1,000 times what we consider survivable, Dr. Kylaneth continued. It would compress our bodies into nothing, but these creatures live their entire lives in that crushing environment. Engineer Fluxenum pulsed with confusion. How is that possible? Their bodies are designed for it, the xenobiologist explained. They have internal structures that equalize the pressure. Some of them have never seen sunlight. They live in complete darkness and eat chemicals that would poison us. The display shifted again, showing the planet's highest mountains. And here, other organisms survive in conditions similar to space. Almost no oxygen, deadly radiation, temperatures that freeze. Most liquids solid. Security Chief Grixnell's rocky features showed deep concern. This entire planet is a collection of death environments. Nothing should be able to live there. But that is not the strangest part, Dr. Kylaneth said. She activated a new display showing microscopic life forms. These tiny organisms are everywhere. They are inside every living thing, including the humans. They are so small that millions of them could fit on the tip of a needle. The crew stared at the writhing, swimming masses of microscopic life. Are they parasites? Vorthek asked from his water tank. Some are, Dr. Kylaneth replied. But others are helpers. The humans and other larger organisms have formed partnerships with these tiny creatures. They help each other survive. She showed them images of human digestive systems. These humans cannot process their food without the help of billions of tiny organisms living inside their bodies. They have turned their internal organs into homes for other life forms. The idea horrified most of the crew. Having other organisms living inside their bodies seemed like a nightmare. It gets worse, Dr. Kylaneth continued. The humans are constantly under attack by hostile microorganisms. Diseases, infections, viruses, bacteria. Their bodies are battlegrounds for microscopic warfare. How do they survive? Plixara asked. They fight back, the xenobiologist explained. Their bodies have developed internal armies, special cells that hunt down and destroy invaders. They live in a constant state of biological warfare, and somehow they win most of the battles. The display showed the human immune system in action. White blood cells chased down bacteria. Antibodies locked onto viruses and destroyed them. The humans' bodies were like military fortresses, always ready for the next attack. When they are young, Dr. Kylaneth continued, they deliberately expose themselves to harmful organisms. They call it building immunity. They make themselves sick on purpose so they can become stronger. Commander Zixtel felt his crystal structure grow cold. They poison themselves as children? Yes, and their parents help them do it. They inject their young with weakened versions of deadly diseases. The children become sick, fight off the infection, and emerge more resistant to future attacks. The crew sat in stunned silence. The idea of deliberately harming their own offspring was beyond their understanding. There is more, Dr. Kylaneth said. She showed them images of humans eating various substances. They consume things that are designed to hurt them. The display showed humans eating red peppers, their faces showing obvious pain. These plants evolved a chemical called capsaicin specifically to prevent animals from eating them. It causes burning pain in the mouth and throat. The humans eat these plants because they enjoy the pain. They enjoy pain? Grixnell asked. They call it flavor. They have developed a taste for substances that cause them discomfort. Alcohol, which is a poison that kills bacteria, is consumed by humans for recreation. They drink it until it affects their thinking and coordination. The probe data showed humans in various states of alcohol consumption. Some were laughing and singing. Others were stumbling and falling down. This poison makes them act strangely, Dr. Kylnath explained. It impairs their judgment and physical abilities, yet they consume it voluntarily and seem to enjoy the experience. Engineer. Fluxonim's energy form flickered with disbelief. They are voluntarily poisoning themselves for entertainment? Yes, and they have created entire industries around this practice. They manufacture different types of alcohol. They have social gatherings where the main activity is consuming poison together. The display showed human breweries, distilleries, and bars. Humans worked together to create and distribute substances that were harmful to their own species. The strangest part, Dr. Kylnath continued, is that they have somehow learned to control these poisons. They know exactly how much to consume to achieve the desired effect without causing permanent damage. They have turned poisoning themselves into a science. She showed them more examples. Humans consuming caffeine, a natural pesticide that plants use to kill insects. Humans eating chocolate, which contains compounds that are toxic to many animals. Humans drinking fermented beverages that would be considered industrial solvents by most galactic species. They have also formed relationships with other dangerous organisms, Dr. Kylnath added. New images showed humans living with large, powerful animals. Some had sharp teeth and claws. Others were large enough to easily kill a human. Are these their prey? Vorthek asked. No. They call them pets. They are companions. These dangerous animals live in human homes and are treated like family members. The crew watched in amazement as humans played with creatures that could tear them apart. Small humans, apparently their young, rolled around on the ground with animals that had powerful jaws and sharp claws. The animals protect the humans, Dr. Kylnath explained. They form emotional bonds. When the humans are threatened, these animals defend them. When the animals are sick or injured, the humans care for them. They have domesticated their planet's predators? Commander Zixtel asked. Yes. They have taken animals that were designed to hunt and kill and turned them into helpers and companions. Some of these animals help humans hunt other animals. Some guard human settlements. Some are kept purely for emotional support. The display showed humans interacting with dozens of different animal species. Dogs, cats, horses, birds, even some reptiles and fish. Each relationship was different, but all showed clear signs of cooperation and affection. This is beyond anything we have seen before, Grixnell said. They have not just survived their death world. They have made alliances with it. The biological diversity is staggering, Dr. Kylnath concluded. Every environment on this planet hosts life forms specifically adapted to those conditions. The humans have not conquered their world through technology alone. They have learned to work with the other life forms. Commander Zixtel studied the data. Earth was not just a death world. It was a death world that had produced a species capable of thriving in conditions that would eliminate most galactic civilizations. What does this mean for our mission? Plixara asked. It means, Zixtel replied slowly, that we are not just observing another species. We are studying something that may be completely unique in the galaxy. A species that has turned the deadliest environment imaginable into their home. The crew continued their analysis, but each new discovery only deepened their amazement. These humans had not just survived their impossible world. They had embraced it, adapted to it, and made it work for them. And they were just beginning to understand how strange that truly was. Communications specialist Vorthek had been working for days to decode human language patterns. His tentacles moved rapidly through his water tank as he processed thousands of human transmissions. What he discovered made him call another emergency meeting. I have translated their communications, he announced as the crew gathered. What I found is more disturbing than their biology. Commander Zixtel settled into his chair. Explain. These humans do not just survive dangerous conditions, Vorthek began. They seek them out on purpose. They have created an entire culture around deliberately putting themselves in mortal danger. The main display activated, showing human activities the probe had recorded. Humans were throwing themselves from high places with only thin fabric to slow their fall. They call this skydiving, Vorthek explained. They jump from flying vehicles thousands of meters in the air. One small mistake means certain death. They do this for something they call fun. Dr. Kylnath's compound eyes widened. They voluntarily fall from deadly heights? Yes. And that is just the beginning. The display changed to show humans climbing vertical rock faces. They call this rock climbing. They use only their hands and feet to scale cliffs that would kill them if they fell. Some do it without any safety equipment at all. The crew watched in horror as humans clung to tiny handholds on massive stone walls. One slip would send them plunging to their deaths. Here is something they call surfing, Vorthek continued. The display showed humans standing on boards riding massive waves in the ocean. They positioned themselves on top of moving walls of water. These waves have enough force to crush them or drag them underwater. Why do they do this? Plixara asked. According to their communications, they find it exciting and thrilling. They appear to enjoy the feeling of being close to death. Security Chief Grixnell leaned forward. Are they trying to eliminate the weak members of their species? No, Vorthek replied. These activities are considered entertainment. They have entire industries built around helping people engage in dangerous activities. They call it extreme sports. The display showed more examples. Humans racing vehicles at incredible speeds. Humans diving into caves underwater. Humans launching themselves down snow-covered mountains on thin boards. They have turned nearly every dangerous environment on their planet into a recreational activity, Vorthek explained. Fire, water, air, ice, rock, speed. They find ways to put themselves in danger using all of them. This is madness, Engineer Fluxnim said, his energy form pulsing red with alarm. It gets worse, Vorthek continued. They also create artificial dangers for entertainment. They have something called horror movies where they pay to be frightened. They build structures called roller coasters that simulate the experience of falling and crashing. The display showed humans screaming as they rode mechanical devices that spun them around, dropped them from heights, and accelerated them to dangerous speeds. They pay money to be terrified, Dr. Kylnath asked. Yes. They have entire theme parks dedicated to simulating mortal danger. Families bring their young to experience controlled versions of potentially deadly situations. Commander Zixtel watched the images with growing concern. What about their social structures? How do they organize their society? That is equally strange, Vorthek replied. When faced with real danger, they do something unprecedented. They help each other. The display changed to show humans responding to natural disasters. Floods, fires, earthquakes, storms. Instead of fleeing, groups of humans were running toward the danger. When their buildings catch fire, some humans run into the burning structures to save others. They call these people firefighters. It is their job to enter deadly situations to help their fellow humans. The crew watched in amazement as humans in protective gear carried other humans out of burning buildings. Smoke and flames surrounded them, but they kept going back for more people. They have others called paramedics who rush to help injured humans, and police officers who put themselves in danger to protect others from harmful humans. They have harmful humans? Plixara asked. Yes, some humans use their Deathworld survival skills against other humans. But the interesting part is how their society responds. Instead of accepting this, they have created systems to stop it. The display showed human emergency services in action. Ambulances racing through traffic, police chasing criminals, search and rescue teams looking for lost people in dangerous wilderness areas. They have weaponized their survival instincts into cooperation, Vorthek explained. The same skills that help them survive their Deathworld are used to help other humans survive. Dr. Kylnath was studying the biological data. I am seeing something remarkable in their medical practices. They have learned to heal each other, using techniques that would appear to be torture to most species. The display showed the inside of a human hospital. Humans in white clothing were working on other humans lying on tables. They deliberately cut into each other with sharp instruments, Dr. Kylnath continued. They call this surgery. They open up the body, repair internal damage, and close it again. The crew watched in horror as human doctors performed operations. They were cutting into organs, removing damaged parts, and replacing them with artificial devices or parts from other humans. They transplant organs from one human to another, Dr. Kylnath explained. When one human dies, they remove their organs and place them inside other humans to keep them alive. They cannibalize their dead? Grixnell asked. Not for food. For medical purposes. They have learned to share body parts to extend each other's lives. A human can live with the heart of another human inside their chest. The display showed humans recovering from surgery. They had scars where they had been cut open, but they were alive and functioning normally. They inject chemicals into their blood to fight diseases, Dr. Kylnath continued. They call these medicines. Many of these substances would be considered poisons by other species, but humans have learned to use them for healing. They also practice something called vaccination, Forthek added. They deliberately infect themselves with weakened versions of deadly diseases to build resistance. The crew watched as human children received injections. The children cried from the pain, but their parents held them steady while medical workers pushed needles into their arms. The parents allow their young to be hurt to protect them from greater harm, Dr. Kylnath observed. This level of strategic thinking about biological warfare is unprecedented. There is more, Forthek said. They have created entertainment based on controlled violence. They have competitions where humans fight each other using specific rules. The display showed boxing matches, wrestling contests, and martial arts competitions. Humans were deliberately hitting each other, but there were clear boundaries and safety measures. They have turned their combat instincts into sport, Forthek explained. They compete to see who is the best fighter, but they try not to permanently harm each other. They also have something called contact sports, he continued. Large groups of humans run into each other while trying to move an object to a specific location. They collide with great force, but they consider this entertaining. The display showed football, rugby, and hockey games. Humans were running into each other, falling down, and getting back up to continue the game. They celebrate controlled violence, Grixnell observed. They have made warfare into recreation. Yes, Forthek agreed, but the most remarkable thing is how they treat their competitors. After trying to defeat each other, they often show respect and friendship. They have separated the act of fighting from the emotion of hatred. Commander Zixtel processed all this information. These humans have not just adapted to their death world. They have learned to use its dangers as tools for building their civilization. They use controlled danger for entertainment, education, and social bonding, Dr. Kylnath added. They have turned the very forces that should destroy them into the foundation of their culture. What kind of species does this? Plixara wondered aloud. A species that has learned to dance with death, Zixtel replied. And somehow learned to make it beautiful. The crew continued their observations, but each new discovery only deepened their understanding of how completely the humans had embraced their impossible world. Engineer Fluxinem made a discovery that changed everything. He had been analyzing the probe's deep scan data when he found something that made his energy form pulse bright red with alarm. Commander, he called out across the bridge, I have found evidence of previous contact attempts. The crew gathered around his station as Fluxinem displayed his findings. Ancient metal fragments buried in Earth soil. Crystalline structures that did not match any known Earth minerals. Energy signatures that were clearly artificial but thousands of years old. These are not human artifacts, Fluxinem explained. The materials are consistent with technology from several known galactic species. But they are very old. Some appear to be over 5,000 Earth years old. Commander Zixtel studied the data carefully. Other species have visited this world. Before? Yes. And I believe I know why there are no records of successful contact. Fluxinem activated another display showing crash sites and abandoned equipment scattered across the planet. They did not survive long enough to complete their missions. Dr. Kylneth examined the biological residue found at the sites. The organic remains show signs of rapid biological failure. Atmospheric poisoning, radiation exposure, pressure damage. They died within hours of landing. But there is more, Fluxinem continued. I found records in our own database. Ancient reports filed thousands of years ago by species that attempted contact with worlds in this system. The main display showed old documents written in several different alien languages. Vorthek worked to translate them while the crew waited. These are warning reports, Vorthek announced after reviewing the translations. Multiple species attempted to study the system over the millennia. None stayed long. He read from the documents, from the Velkari archive, dated 3,000 years ago. Third planet uninhabitable. Atmosphere toxic. Gravity excessive. Local life forms impossible. Recommend complete avoidance. Another report from the Zephani Exploration Guild, Vorthek continued. Translated, it says, Deathworld beyond classification. Hostile environment eliminated advance team within 2 hours. Local predators show unprecedented aggression. Evacuation necessary. The crew listened in growing amazement as Vorthek read, report after report. Every single attempt at contact had ended in failure or retreat. The most detailed report comes from the Mordek Science Collective, Vorthek said. They attempted a longer study mission. Their final transmission was, Day 7 on Deathworld, crew suffering complete biological breakdown. Local dominant species shows impossible adaptation. They appear to be living weapons created by their environment. Immediate extraction required. Do not return to this system. Living weapons? Security Chief Grixnall asked. That is what they called the humans, Vorthek replied. Every species that encountered them described them as something that should not exist. Fluxinem brought up more data. I have been analyzing current human technology based on our probe observations. Commander, what I found explains why previous contact attempts failed. The display showed human spacecraft, vehicles, and industrial equipment. To the alien crew, they looked primitive and dangerous. Their technology is based on controlled explosions, Fluxinem explained. Their vehicles use internal combustion engines that create tiny explosions thousands of times per minute. Their spacecraft are launched using massive controlled explosions that create more force than most species use for mining operations. They travel by exploding things? Plixara asked in disbelief. Yes. And their industrial processes are equally extreme. They smelt metals at temperatures that would vaporize most known materials. They work with chemicals that are so corrosive they would dissolve our ship's hull. They generate electricity using methods that would be considered weapons by most species. The crew watched images of human factories, power plants, and construction sites. Everywhere they looked, humans were working with forces and materials that should kill them. Look at this, Fluxinem continued, showing humans working in steel foundries. They are standing next to molten metal hot enough to destroy our protective suits. They wear minimal protection and appear completely comfortable. And here, he added, displaying humans working on high-voltage electrical systems. They regularly handle energy levels that would instantly kill most galactic species. Dr. Kylneth was studying human space technology. Their spacecraft design is terrifying. They strap themselves to massive fuel tanks filled with explosive liquids, then ignite them to achieve escape velocity. The display showed a human rocket launch. The crew watched in horror as the massive explosion lifted the spacecraft away from the planet. The G-forces alone should crush them, Dr. Kylneth continued. But they survive the launch, live in the vacuum of space using only thin barriers for protection, and return to their planet by falling through the atmosphere at deadly speeds. They turn falling from space into a routine procedure, Fluxinem added. They have made atmospheric re-entry, one of the most dangerous things possible, into something they do regularly. Security Chief Grixnall studied the military applications. Commander, I believe I understand why previous contact missions failed. These humans have not just adapted to their death world. They have become The Death World. Explain, Zixtel ordered. Every adaptation they have made for survival also makes them incredibly dangerous to other species, Grixnall said. Their immune systems would treat most galactic life forms as hostile invaders. Their atmospheric requirements would be toxic to most species. Their gravity would crush visitors. Their radiation tolerance means they can survive in environments that would kill others instantly. The crew began to understand the full implications of what they had discovered. Previous contact attempts failed because the visiting species could not survive Earth's environment long enough to establish meaningful communication. Grixnall continued. But the humans can survive anywhere. They could visit any world in the galaxy and adapt to its conditions. They are already doing it, Fluxinem said, showing probe data of human space stations and lunar bases. They have established permanent settlements in the vacuum of space and on their airless moon. They are living in conditions that would be instantly fatal to most known life forms. Dr. Kylneth brought up biological projection models. Based on their adaptation patterns, humans could potentially colonize any environment in the galaxy. Desert worlds, ice worlds, high-radiation planets, high-gravity systems. Their death world origin has made them incredibly versatile. They are not just survivors, Vorthek observed. They are potential colonizers of environments that no other species could inhabit. Commander Zixtel realized they were facing a completely new situation. Previous first contact protocols assume that both species have similar environmental needs. These humans could survive conditions that would eliminate our crews instantly. There is more, Fluxinem said. I have analyzed their current space exploration efforts. They are actively searching for other life in the universe. The display showed human radio telescopes, space probes, and SETI programs. Humans were broadcasting signals into space and listening for responses. They want to make contact, Vorthek confirmed after analyzing their communications. Their transmissions include mathematical concepts, scientific information, and cultural data. They are trying to communicate with anyone who might be listening. They are also preparing for the possibility of contact, Dr. Kylneth added. They have created protocols for how to interact with alien species. They have organizations dedicated to studying the possibility of extraterrestrial life. The crew sat in stunned silence as they processed this information. The humans were not just surviving their death world, they were preparing to leave it and explore the galaxy. Commander, Grixnall said slowly, we may be observing the birth of the galaxy's next major spacefaring civilization, and they are unlike anything that has come before. A civilization born on a death world, Zixtel mused, adapted to conditions that would destroy most other species, actively seeking contact with the galactic community. What do we do? Plixara asked. Zixtel looked at his crew. They had made the most significant discovery in galactic history, but for the first time in his career, he was not sure what their next step should be. We need to decide whether the galaxy is ready for humans, he said finally, or whether humans are ready for the galaxy. The question hung in the air as the crew continued their observations, knowing that their decision would change the course of galactic civilization forever. The debate in the conference room had been going on for hours. Commander Zixtel watched his crew argue about the most important decision in galactic history. What should they do about the humans? We must warn the Hegemony Council immediately, Security Chief Grixnall insisted. His rocky features showed deep concern. These humans are potentially the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. A civilization born on a death world could destabilize the entire galaxy. Dr. Kylneth disagreed strongly. They are not dangerous. They are remarkable. Their biological adaptations could revolutionize medicine for dozens of species. Their survival techniques could help us colonize worlds we thought were impossible to inhabit. But what if they see us as threats? Grixnall argued. Their entire evolution has been shaped by surviving deadly environments. They might view other species as just another challenge to overcome. Engineer Fluxinem pulsed with uncertainty. Their technology is primitive but incredibly robust. They build everything to survive in conditions that would destroy our most advanced equipment. If they applied that same thinking to weapons, you are all missing the point, communications specialist, Vorthek interrupted from his water tank. They are actively searching for us. They want to make contact. Every signal they send into space is an invitation for friendship and cooperation. Commander Zixtel listened to his crew debate. Each point was valid. The humans were potentially the greatest opportunity or the greatest threat the galaxy had ever faced. "What are you recommending, Doctor?" he asked Kylaneth. "Immediate scientific contact," she replied. "We should establish communication and begin cultural exchange. They could teach us things we never imagined possible." "And you, Chief Grixnell?" "Quarantine." "Protocols." The security chief answered firmly. "We should classify their system as restricted and establish monitoring stations. No contact until we understand them better." "Vorthek." "Direct contact," the communications specialist said. "They are broadcasting welcome messages. We should respond in kind." Zixtel was about to continue the discussion when alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Navigation Officer Plixara's gaseous form turned bright red with alarm. "Commander, we have a problem," she announced. "I am detecting an approaching spacecraft human design. It will reach our position in less than 6 hours." The bridge fell silent. Through all their debate, they had forgotten that the humans were actively exploring space. "How is that possible?" Fluxnim asked. "Their technology is too primitive for interstellar travel." Plixara displayed the sensor readings. "It appears to be a long-range exploration vessel, chemical propulsion, primitive by our standards, but functional. They have been traveling for several months." "They launched an interstellar mission with chemical rockets?" Dr. Kylneth asked in amazement. "Yes. The vessel shows signs of multiple course corrections and equipment repairs during flight. They are literally holding their spacecraft together with what we would consider emergency patches." Zixtel stared at the display. The human spacecraft looked like it was barely holding together. Metal panels were welded over damaged areas. External equipment had been modified and repaired repeatedly. "They are crossing interstellar space in that?" he asked. "According to their transmissions, this is their first attempt at faster-than-light travel," Vorthek reported. "They call the ship USS Endeavor. It has a crew of 12 humans. 12 humans crossed interstellar space in a ship that looks like it should fall apart?" Grixnell said. "It gets more impressive," Vorthek continued. "Their mission logs show they have been repairing critical systems throughout the journey. They have replaced engines, fixed life support failures, and sealed hull breaches. They kept their ship running through determination and ingenuity." The crew watched as the human spacecraft grew larger on their sensors. It was scarred, patched, and obviously stressed from its long journey, but it was still functioning. "Commander," Plixara said urgently, "they have detected us." "Impossible," Fluxinem protested. "We are cloaked." "Their sensors are more advanced than their propulsion systems," Plixara explained. "They are using multiple detection methods: electromagnetic, gravitational, thermal. One of their scans penetrated our cloaking field." "Are they taking hostile action?" Grixnell asked, moving toward the weapons console. "No," Vorthek replied, "monitoring their communications. They are trying to communicate with us." The main display activated, showing a transmission from the human vessel. A human face appeared on the screen. It was weathered and tired from the long journey, but the eyes showed curiosity and hope, not fear. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Endeavor," the human said. "We have detected your vessel and would like to establish communication. We come in peace and friendship." The alien crew stared at the transmission. After months of observing humans from a distance, they were finally seeing one speak directly to them. "He looked so fragile," Dr. Kylneth whispered. "But he crossed interstellar space to get here," Zixtel replied. Another human appeared beside the first one. This one was smaller and appeared to be female based on their observations. "I am Dr. Lisa Martinez, Chief Science Officer," the second human said. "We represent the people of Earth and hope to begin peaceful relations with any intelligent species we encounter. They are not showing any signs of fear or aggression," Vorthek observed. "Their body language suggests excitement and curiosity." "Commander," Grixnell said quietly, "we have to make a decision now. Do we respond or do we maintain our distance? Zixtel looked at his crew. They had spent days studying these impossible beings. Now they were face to face with them, and the humans were extending friendship. What do you think they will do if we reveal ourselves? He asked Dr. Kylnath. Based on everything we have observed, they will be thrilled, she replied. They have been searching for this moment their entire civilization. They will want to learn everything about us and share everything about themselves. And if we retreat? He asked Grixnall. They will probably follow us, the security chief admitted. They crossed interstellar space with primitive technology. They do not give up easily. Zixtel made his decision. Vorthek, open a communication channel. Sir? Grixnall protested. We have been observing them for days, Zixtel said. They have shown us nothing but curiosity, cooperation, and determination. If we are going to make first contact, we should do it properly. Vorthek activated the communication system. Channel. Open, Commander. Zixtel stepped in front of the transmitter. Captain Morrison, Dr. Martinez, this is Commander Zixtel of the Galactic Survey vessel Kethmoran. We welcome you to first contact. The reaction on the human ship was immediate. The humans' faces showed pure joy and excitement. Captain Morrison was actually smiling. Something the aliens had learned was a positive human expression. Commander Zixtel, this is the greatest moment in human history, Captain Morrison replied. We have dreamed of this day for thousands of years. We have been observing your species, Zixtel continued. You have accomplished something we thought was impossible. You have not just survived on a death world, but have turned it into your strength. Dr. Martinez leaned forward eagerly. You have been studying Earth? What can you tell us about the galaxy? Are there other species like you? Do you have technologies that could help our people? The questions came rapidly, showing the humans intense curiosity about everything beyond their world. There are many species in the galaxy, Zixtel replied, but none like you. You represent something completely new, a species shaped by the most hostile environment imaginable, yet dedicated to cooperation and exploration. We would like to learn from you, Captain Morrison said, and we hope we can contribute something useful to the galactic community. Commander, Zixtel felt his crystal structure warm with something he had never experienced before. These humans, born on a world that should have killed them, were offering to help others. Captain Morrison, he said, I believe you and your species will contribute more than you can imagine. The galaxy has been waiting for someone like you, even though we did not know it. The communication continued as both species began the first steps of what would become the most important relationship in galactic history. The humans had finally found the stars they had been reaching for, and the galaxy had found something it had never seen before, a species that had turned the deadliest, world-unknown space into the foundation for the greatest hope the galaxy had ever known.